Francis inside Madison Square Garden right now. This very, very powerful and moving Mass continues.
Jesus said to his disciples, "You have heard that it was said, an eye for an eye and a tooth for a tooth. But I say to you, offer no resistance to one who is evil. When someone strikes you on your right cheek, turn the other to him as well. If anyone wants to go to law with you over your tunic, hand him your cloak as well. Should anyone press you into service for 1 mile, go with him 2 miles. Give to the one who asks of you, and do not turn your back on one who wants to borrow. You have heard what it was said, you shall love your neighbor and hate your enemy. But I say to you, love your enemies and pray for those who persecute you, that you may be children of your heavenly Father. For he makes his sun rise on the bad and the good, and causes rain to fall on the just and the unjust. For if you love those who love you, what recompense will you have? Do not the tax collectors do the same? And if you greet your brothers only, what is unusual about that? Do not the pagans do the same? So be perfect, just your heavenly Father is perfect. The Gospel of the Lord. Praise to you, Lord Jesus Christ.
Estamos nel Madison.
We are in Madison Square Garden, a quite emblematic place in the city. This is the site of important athletic, artistic and musical events which attract people not only from this city but from the whole world. In this place, which represents the different aspects of the life of citizens who get together for common interests, we have listened the words, "The people who walked in darkness have seen a great light." The people who walked, the people caught up in their activities and their routines, that walked carrying their successes and mistakes, their fears and their opportunities. That people has seen a great light. The people who had its happiness and hopes with disappointments and bitterness, that people has seen a great light. The people of God are called in every age history to contemplate this light. A light which wants to illuminate the nations. Full of joy was it expressed by the elderly Simeon. A light meant to shine on every corner of this city, on our fellow citizens, on every part of our lives. The people who walked in darkness have seen a great light. One of the special qualities of God's people is the ability to see, to contemplate, even in moments of darkness, the light which Christ brings. God's faithful people can see, distinguish, contemplate His living presence in the midst of life, in the midst of the city. Together with the prophet, we can now today say, the people who walk, breathe, and live in the middle of smog have seen a great light, have experienced a breath of fresh air.
Vivir en una ciudad es algo bastante complejo.
Living in a big city is very complex. A multicultural context presents many complex challenges. Big cities are a reminder of the hidden richness present in our world, with the diversity of cultures, traditions, and historical experiences, the variety of languages, costumes, food. Big cities bring together all the different ways which human beings have discovered to express to the meaning of life, whatever the circumstances may be. Big cities also conceal the face of all those who don't seem to belong to this citizenship or are second-class citizens. In big cities, beneath the noise of traffic, beneath the rapid pace of change, so many faces go unnoticed because they have no right to be there, no right to be part of the city. Foreigners, their children, who do not get to go to school, those deprived of medical coverage, the homeless, the forgotten elderly, being at the edges of our streets in a deafening anonymity. They become part of an urban landscape which is slowly taken for granted in our eyes and more specifically in our hearts. Knowing that Jesus still walks on our streets, that he is part of the lives of his people, that he is involved with us and involves people in one only history of salvation, fills us with hope, a hope which liberates us from the forces pushing us into isolation and lack of interest for the lives of others, for the life of our city. A hope which frees us from empty connections, from abstract analysis or sensationalist routines. A hope which is not afraid of being involved, acting as a leaven wherever we happen to live and work. A hope which makes us see, even in the midst of smog, the presence of God as he continues to walk the streets of our city, because God is inside the city too. What is it like? What is this light traveling through our streets? How do we encounter God who lives with us in the middle of the smog we have in our cities? How do we find Jesus alive and at work in the daily life of our multicultural cities? The prophet Isaiah can guide us in this learning to see. He talked about the light that is Jesus, and now he presents Jesus to us as a fantastic counselor, mighty God, everlasting Father, Prince of Peace. In that way, he introduces us into the life of the Son, so that this can also be our life. Wonderful counselor. The Gospels tell us how many people will come up to Jesus to ask, Master, what must we do? The first thing that Jesus does in his response is to propose, encourage, motivate. He always proposes to his disciples to go out. He asks them to go out and meet others where they really are, and not where we would like them to be. Go out over and over again. Go without fear, without hesitation. Go out and proclaim this joy which is for all the people. The strong God. In Jesus, God became Emmanuel, God with us, the God who walks with us, who is mixed in our lives, in our houses, in our pots and pans, as Saint Teresa of Jesus would say, the everlasting Father. No one or anything can separate us from his love. Go and proclaim. Go and live and say that God is in your midst as a merciful Father who himself does go out every morning and every evening to see if his son has come home. And as soon as he sees him coming, he runs to embrace him. This is marvelous.
Un abrazo
It is an embrace
que busca asumir,
which wants to
busca
take up, to
purificar
purify and elevate the dignity of his children.
Padre
The Father,
en su abrazo
who in his embrace
es buena
is
noticia a los pobres,
good news for the
alivio de
poor,
los afligidos,
healing for the afflicted,
libertad a los oprimidos,
liberty for the captives,
consuelo
comfort
para los
for those who mourn.
Príncipe de la
Prince
paz.
of Peace,
El andar hacia los otros
go to others
para
to
compartir
share
la buena nueva
the good
que
news
Dios
that
es
God,
nuestro Padre,
our Father,
que camina a nuestro
is at
lado,
our side,
nos libera
frees us
del
from
anonimato
anonymity,
de una vida
from a life
sin rostro,
without
una
faces,
vida vacía,
a
y
life
nos
empty,
introduce
and brings us into the school of the encounter.
nos libera de la
He
guerra
frees us
de la
from
competencia,
the fray of
de
competition,
la
of
autorreferencialidad,
self-absorption,
para abrirnos
and it opens us the path to peace.
esa paz
That
que
peace
nace
which
del
is
reconocimiento
born of the
del otro,
acceptance of the others.
esa paz
That
que
peace
surge en el
which
corazón
fills
al mirar
our hearts
especialmente
when we
al
look
más
upon
necesitado
those
como a
who are in need as brothers and sisters.
Dios
God
vive
lives in our cities.
La iglesia
The church
vive
is
en nuestra
living
ciudad.
in our cities.
Y Dios y la iglesia que
And
viven en nuestras
God and the
ciudades
church who live in our
quieren ser
cities
fermento
want to
en la
be
masa,
the yeast in
quieren
the dough,
mezclarse con todo,
to
acompañando
relate
a
to
todos,
everyone, to be with
anunciando las
everyone, to proclaim the marvels of the
consejero maravilloso,
wonderful advisor,
Dios fuerte,
the mighty God,
Padre para siempre,
the eternal Father,
Príncipe de la
the
paz.
Prince of Peace.
El pueblo
The people
que caminaba
who
en tinieblas
walked in darkness
ha visto una
have
gran
seen a great light,
y nosotros,
and
cristianos,
we,
somos
Christians,
testigos.
are witnesses of that.
A beautiful homily by Pope Francis inside Madison Square Garden. We're going to resume our special coverage in a moment.